Hi, good evening. This is our second online orientation and first time again to do it uh, during the evening. So I hope the internet is good here in the farm. So uh, can you message if you can hear me clearly? Hi, Chen. Where are you from, Chen? Okay, so we will be starting very soon. So far, we have um, Miss Chen. Okay, Carmona, Cavite. So you're quite near Silang, Cavite. So is Miss Chen only the one only here? I see that there's um, two more who who are watching. Can you please message? Oh, hi, Rani. It's good that you are here. Hi, Ditera. Rani is all the way from Davao. And Ditera is in Sorsogon, right? And okay, so there were seven. Um, anyway, we will start. Sorry. So, homeschooling here in the Philippines. We'll give you a short background about the homeschooling setup here in the Philippines. And then we will introduce Gopala's homeschool way. So, homeschooling here in the Philippines is under alternative delivery mode. It is recognized by DepEd under alternative delivery mode. Take note of that. So, uh, two 2 years ago in 2016, the Association of Happy or Homeschool Association of the Philippine Islands were invited to participate with DepEd's framework so for homeschooling or alternative delivery mode. So because homeschooling is now becoming more and more popular. So what is the difference between homeschooling and other alternative delivery mode? To share with you, there are several alternative delivery mode under DepEd. One of which is Open High School, which is offered by the public school. Homeschooling is offered by the private school. And the difference of homeschooling with the other alternative delivery modes is that it is parent-led. So homeschooling is about a family journeying together for the pursuit of education in an out-of-the-box experience. So, because our family has been homeschooling for so many years, I will be showing you more of our family's journey. By the way, this is our family. We have three girls. Vishnupriya is on my husband's side, and the two girls with me, the taller one is Vaishnava, and my youngest is Vanamali in the middle. So, homeschooling is about accepting our child for who they can become as a unique child of God rather than what we or society want them to be. So, most of the homeschool families that we have interviewed or talked to, most of them homeschool because of this, because they want to give their children a unique education that is different, that is not um, being provided by the school. Unlike the school setup where everybody does everything, with the homeschooling, there is a chance of giving the child a unique kind of lesson. So homeschooling is really child centered. Homeschooling is being in the precious moments of our child. So most of the homeschoolers who decide to homeschool at the very young stages of their child's years, they experience, of course, many of the first, and not only for the younger years, but also when they homeschool teenagers or other age children, they experience all the first time with their children. So, homeschooling is about choosing our own battles so that our child can grow and hone themselves for the better. For life is not a competition. Each of us has our own journey ahead of us. Each of us has our own battles to fight. So let us inspire and encourage one another to reach our potential. When we homeschool, unlike in the school, first day of class pa lang, may competition na against other children. But with homeschooling, it's more of the child competing against their best. What they did today, they can do better tomorrow. So it's not, um, they don't compare themselves with others. And then they don't rely on what others think of them. So, homeschooling is about helping our children grow their love for learning, for it is up to them to use their time to explore, discover, and apply necessary skills for life. So, since it is a homeschool journey and most of the time the children are at home 24/7, they have so much time to explore or discover what they really wish to pursue. Unlike in schools where you have an 8 to 5 class or 7 to 4 class, with homeschooling, you can adjust your time, your lessons with your children, and have more uh, application time. Yan. So, homeschooling is about experience firsthand what needs to be learned in a given time and circumstances. So, with our journey, in our homeschool journey, whatever lessons we want our children to learn, we really make it so that it is uh, applied or experienced. So here is a picture of us doing volunteer work for safe care because we want to in imbibe in our children how to protect Mother Nature. Homeschooling can give room to achieve a child's potential. Homeschooling can give room to achieve a child's full potential. So some of you knows the boy in this picture. So he has been homeschooling with us since preschool. Uh, his parents are both musicians, and at a very young age, they saw how he was very into music, particularly into cello. And now he's already grade 5 and uh, currently in Europe, taking up a scholarship course for pre-college. Because of homeschooling, he was able to give his time for cello. But of course, we did not leave out other learning lessons for him. He he was introduced to other sports and also given time to learn other subjects. He's very his math skills are quite unique because it's more of aligned to music. Opportunity to redirect learning towards their interests. So this is my second daughter. Her interest is arts, and through arts, we aligned all the lessons that she needs to learn for her grade level, connecting it to arts. So here she was, because of her love for arts, we integrated her business math, anatomy, history, and other major subjects with arts. Here is a photo of her with her recycling paper project. It started out uh, as an experiment because we ran out of paper and I couldn't buy her paper for her arts, and we have a lot of paper from the modules that are around, so she was quite forced to uh, experiment on how to recycle it. And as she experimented, she made it into different types of paper, depending on what kind of art material that she will use. So she was able to discover the different uses of her paper. And of course, she has uh, more paper for her drawing and painting. And aside from that, because of her business math subject, she turned it into a small business. She not only recycles paper for writing or drawing, she also recycled paper to make into earrings, pendants, and so on. Because she she really gave her time and effort in experimenting about this paper. recycling paper, she built her confidence. She was able to build her confidence, and because of this, she was able to share it with others because she was quite shy at first. But because this type of lesson or experience is very much hers, nobody can do it for her. So she was quite uh, forced to do it, to share it with others. And eventually, she is able to share it to bigger crowds, from this small group to big class size participants. So, homeschooling also provides second chances. Ever since we started in 2008, we have been um catering to families who are looking for a second chance. Especially teenagers who somehow lost their way, and we try to reform them through homeschooling by working together with their parents side by side, and making a program for them so that they can gain back their confidence, gain back their values and character. And this boy, we were able to uh, help him finish her finish his third year so that he can go back to traditional school the next school year. And now he's a graduate of aeronautic engineer. So many people ask, what about socialization? So yun yung most of the time when people hear about homeschooling, the automatic response would be, what about socialization, or how about socialization? So here is a photo of us with other homeschool families here in Cavite and other close by or nearby areas. We regularly, uh, not really regularly, but we often meet to do social activities. Most of the time, it's multi-level because it's families with different age siblings. So they get to have social activities. But we do encourage families who cannot come to be active with their church or community, any community or anything that they can join, that gives opportunity to their children to be with others, not only children but other people. It doesn't have to be same age. As long as they can communicate with other people, then that is good. Oh, hi, there's already 10 of you watching. So from, hi, Sir Eric, and Gabriel, Carolina. Kindly say where you are from. Thank you. So homeschooling is not about doing it alone, for no one is an island, and we need a village to raise a child. Sorry, na-miss ko na. Kindly read na lang, or I'll share it with you later. So homeschooling is growing here in the Philippines. Why? Many parents want to take part in their child's education. Parents want to be hands-on and intentional with raising their child. Need for alternative because of child situation. Need an alternative because of family situation. So comparing the families of before and today's families, many family who are homeschooling now are parents who experience uh, a kind of gap with their parents because probably their parents were OFW, or their parents were working parents, and so on. So the generation of the families of today have realized that the importance of family bonding, and many of the families would like to be intentional parents, intentional in raising their children. So some of the situation where homeschooling is also becoming popular or in demand is for the students who are getting sick or have health issues, those who are bullied, those who are uh, cannot go to school regularly because they are artists, they are athletes, and so on. So those are the different children situation why parents choose to homeschool. And sometimes uh, family situation. Most of the families of today, like I mentioned, in the past years, families, OFW families, leave their children behind to go to work abroad. But this time, because of homeschooling, families or parents can bring their children where they are so that they can continue to study through homeschooling and at the same time be with their family. Sometimes it's just for a few months or a few years, but the important part is wherever they are assigned, they can bring their children with them through homeschooling. What are the top reasons to homeschool? So here are the top reasons to homeschool according to the research of Castro Sevilla. Values formation, character relationship, and faith strengthening. Of course, there are many different religious practice, and homeschooling is one of the ways we as parents are able to pass on our religious practice or traditions to our children. Because let's face it, in school, public or private, sometimes it's difficult to practice their religion. So number two is close family relationships. Because of homeschooling, uh, families become closer to each other. Number three is quality of education. Quality of education because you can focus on your child's development, child's pace, and child's interest. And of course, most of the time, it is a one-on-one class. Uh, Kindly please tell me if I'm talking too fast. Just message, okay? So, what are the benefits of homeschooling? This is from the Homeschoolers of the Philippines FB group. The top 10 is bonding with family, flexibility, discipleship, room to explore, more time together, having the world as classroom, own pacing to learn, potential to develop self-esteem, positive character, and both parents and children learn. So, of course, in all aspects of life, there is always an advantage and a disadvantage. So, what are the disadvantage? It requires it requires our patience and commitment as parents. Difficulty in juggling homeschooling with our other responsibilities. Of course, especially for those who will be teaching and doing all the other chores at home, or some even working. So it really uh, takes a lot of effort to homeschool. Pressure from family and peers. This has been a problem for so many years because even if homeschooling is becoming popular, it is still not uh, the mainstream, or it is still not what everybody is open to. So sometimes parents or grandparents or relatives may not agree with the parent or family who are homeschooling, and because of this there is family quarrels and so on. Fear of being left behind or inadequate. This is mostly the parents. Sometimes we feel, from time to time, we feel that uh, because we do not have any, especially those who do not have teacher's degree or educational background, we feel that we cannot teach certain subjects, or we feel that we are not really teaching everything. Tendency to compare with others. Of course, this is one of the things that we are always, um, not only with homeschooling, but it is in our everyday life. We always compare with others, our life, and it is not very healthy for a homeschool family to compare themselves to other families, because the mere fact that you chose to homeschool is is already a sign that you want a different life for your children. Homeschooling can be quite expensive because, unlike in schools where you can get uh, promo for big number of students when you go to field trips, or you pay for a certain class in a group, when you are homeschooling, you are doing it alone with your family most of the time. But here in Luzon and also some parts of the Philippines, homeschooling is already growing, and there are different establishments and different um, companies who are supporting homeschooling, who offer discounts to families who are homeschooling. So this is uh, already being assisted. So need to invest time and effort. Of course, when we send our children to school, our children are in the school from, let's say, 9 to 4 p.m. So when they are at home with you for homeschooling, basically they are with you 24/7. And because of this, you really need to plan your schedule, plan your time, so that you can provide proper time for lessons and proper time for activities, proper time for other things that you do at home. Difficulty with Department of Education. Actually, this is for those who are still independent. I will discuss independent later. And possibility of sheltered kids. Sometimes it's not really because you are homeschooling, it's actually the parents. Sometimes how we raise our children, they become sheltered, because we just want them in the house, or want to control them, or uh, not expose them to certain things. But of course, as parents, we know our boundaries, and we know how to provide them activities so that they can learn to be independent, learn to mingle with others in a very safe way. with our family, we try our best to go out and do outreach programs, do of course our children are very hands-on with our advocacies and here at Gopala, and because of this uh, they learn to be with others and learn to be independent. So it's really up to the parents, because sometimes some of the parents I met, even if they are not homeschooling, they are quite sheltered because they don't let their children experience other things. So Gopala is only one of the homeschool support and provider. Gopala started out as a homeschool support. Um, it means we provide activities and support to families. And now we are under an association. It's below happy.ph. It means homeschool homeschool association of the Philippine Islands, and we are a group of homeschool support and providers. Types of homeschool setup. So like I mentioned, homeschooling here in the Philippines is acceptable or recognized. So the type 1 is with a provider. DepEd school or center partnered with a DepEd recognized or accredited school. When you say with a provider, it means like us, Gopala is now being able to provide homeschool with DepEd program through our school partners. We have two school partners. One is Madana Mohana Academy in Bukidnon, and another is Victory Elijah Christian College in Antipolo, Rizal. So we are the school's liaison or supervisor for the parents. So when the child is under a provider, the child is similarly enrolled in the school, but all the lessons are done at home. And like in the school, they are also issued report cards, LRN. LRN is Learner's Reference Number. They are given LRN or they can continue to use their LRN. By the way, we each child is only given one LRN, and it starts from kinder, or for other students it started late because of the implementation of K-12. But each child has one LRN, and when the child is enrolled with the provider, he or she is given that number. So when they are under a provider, they are issued a report card, and parents are guided and assisted. Extracurricular activities may be provided. This is possible for us here in Cavite area. We are able to provide the extracurricular activities to Cavite area families and those who are willing to come here. Although we are trying our best to look for partners in different areas here in the Philippines. Currently, we have partners in Cebu, Dipolog, La Union, uh, Manila, and outside the country. Our partners, they provide different activities and different services so that the families who are enrolled with us are given assistance. We are actually also looking for facilitators for us in other areas. So we follow a DepEd curriculum, but in a very flexible way. We can add other lessons or apply certain approach depending with the provider. With us, Gopala Learning Haven, we promote or advocate interest-led learning. So we follow DepEd program, and the approach that we advocate is interest-led learning. I will share that to you later on. So number two is independent. Independent homeschooling, a child is considered out of school youth. There are no report cards, child does not level up each year, parents are on their own, may follow different curriculum, method, and approach. Unlike the other setup, which is the provider, independent is like uh, you can compare it to be like a you're not listed, you are not listed under DepEd. So your child is considered out of school youth. And because of this, they cannot level up or they cannot be given report cards. But many parents choose to do this setup because it has more freedom. It is not bound by DepEd curriculum. You can explore other curriculums. You can uh, mismatch other curriculums, and it's up to you parents to design your homeschool journey. And with Gopala, we still offer our support to the independent community because of our history. I was homeschooled as a child, and during that time, it was an independent setup. So I grew up in an independent setup. So with Gopala, we still continue to help those families who choose this path. Types of homeschooling setup. So the third one is the international program. Some parents also choose international program. Some of them are DepEd accredited and some of them are not. So these are just some of the few international program that we have been encountering the past few years. So is it legal to homeschool in the Philippines? Yes. There are memos from DepEd that supports this. But like I said, uh, recognition has two categories. One with the provider and one is unrecognized under the independent route. So here's the memo. It has been uh, issued or signed since 1997, but DepEd did not really push this, and most of the schools who pushed this was the private schools. So since 1997, most of the schools that offered homeschool are private schools. But in the coming years, maybe 2 years from now, it will be offered through public school. So with a provider under formal education, the child is under a homeschool coordinator or facilitator, sorry, which is me. Parents can act as teachers or facilitators who manages the lessons needed to be learned. Parents, guardians, are the key component of homeschooling. So I'll just point out, no, some of our inquiries uh, ask us if homeschooling, you will send a teacher to the home. The difference between home study or homeschooling or online schooling is that with homeschooling, the parents are the key component or guardian. Sometimes we accept guardians, especially if there are no parents available. Okay, so I might there's a electricity glitch here because it rained hard a while ago, so I might, suddenly get cut off. I hope not. So, independent technically falls under non-formal or informal education. If a child needs to go back to formal education, he or she is required to take a government exam or placement test. So, when I was homeschooled during my time, in order for me to go to college, I took a Philippine examination placement test. So, I was able to go to college. I took the test from from grade 1 to 4th year high school. And after passing, I went straight to college. So, I will not go further about the independent route. So, I will just share with you that there are two exams for the independent. The PEPT, Philippine examination, sorry. Uh, Later, I'll share it. I had a moment of mental block. The other test is ALS, Alternative Learning System, or ANE test. So in 2016, this is what I mentioned before. We worked with the DepEd so that we can form a framework for homeschooling. And with this conference or convention, we were able to share how to implement homeschooling, and hopefully they can share it with the public school. So common terms: homeschool provider, homeschool support group. When you say homeschool provider, like I mentioned, the when you say provider, it is basically a center or a school who provides homeschooling with a DepEd accredited program. When you say homeschool support group, this is a support group which gives families or provides families with activities, with tutorial help, or other needs for the parents and the children. So, independent homeschooling, outsourcing, classes. Hybrid classes are classes that some of the homeschoolers uh, take. These are, for example, some of the families do math, science, and English at home, and some of them take it at the center. Uh, take the MAPE at the center, or other subjects that they cannot do at home. They do it at the center or at their provider's center. Homeschool approaches. There are so many homeschool approaches now. So one of which is that interest-led learning. One of the now getting more popular is the Charlotte Mason approach. And we have the Montessori, the Waldorf, and so on. What are the costs of homeschooling? So, usually it's curriculum, materials, and supply, tuition fee if they are enrolled with a homeschool provider, testing fee if with Department of Education, if independent, but this only is needed when your child is going back to traditional school. Outsource classes, technology, teacher's salary. Okay, so this template is actually uh, tailored from our president or our Homeschool Association of the Philippine Island President, Donna Simpao. And their arrangement is, with her husband, their arrangement is that she is given a monthly salary for her teaching the kids. So that's their arrangement. So what can you save when you homeschool? Of course, uniform, transportation, lost time in traffic, energy, materials, if resourceful and use free online materials or lesson. Unhealthy meals, lost time in organizing children in big school. So there are a lot of things that you can save with homeschooling. For us, our family was able to save on uh, teachers for music, for arts, because our family is already rich. My siblings are good in arts and music, and plus my husband is good in music, so no need to hire teachers. So with that, we save money. So when can one homeschool? Because of K to 12, the if you go with the provider, the DepEd requires 5 years old to enter KG2 or kindergarten 2 until grade 10. So those are the years that you can homeschool through a homeschool provider that is under DepEd. But if you are doing it independently, of course, you can start early. You can start at 2 or 3, but of course, more on play activities. So, something to ponder. For our homeschooling journey, this has been our uh, guide. Every day is a learning adventure. Every moment is a learning experience. Every experience is a lesson. And every lesson is a chance to grow. Lifelong learners. Our aim for homeschooling is to raise children who are lifelong learners, who are not just bound by time in school to learn, but see the world as their classroom, to see that each of the experiences that they experience can teach them a lesson. So, with Gopala, we really, our main goal is to advocate homeschooling. We are not really uh, pushing to be a provider, but rather to be a homeschool support. We started out as a homeschool support or community, and we want to share this to as many family as we can. And we understand that each family, there is no one way to do homeschooling. The only best way is the one that works for you and your family. You can uh, choose the best choice, choose the best uh, setup for you as a family. And one of the most important thing with homeschooling is that if you are a family or wife and husband, you must be together on this. You have to be both on board with homeschooling, because nobody will be helping you except the both of you. So if you plan to homeschool, you should have both parents on board. But of course, if you are a single parent, all the power is unto you, and you do not need to ask the other parent about how to uh, do or implement homeschooling for your child. Then it's also okay, as long as the child and you are together. So if you wish to see our family's journey, you may follow us on Teacher Purple Lakshmi on Instagram and Facebook. Teacher Purple. Please visit those, especially Facebook, because I share our experience. I share also some of my experience and some of the things that homeschool families should learn or to follow or guide. So this is the time for you to ask questions. So uh, kindly ask your questions now, and I will try to answer. While you're thinking of your question, please, I would like to give you a homework. So for your homework, think of your vision and mission for your family. If you will homeschool, what would be your vision and mission for your family? Hi, Rich. So, question. When you enroll in Gopala, does it already include the coaching sessions, curriculum guide, lesson plan, suggestions, schedule of dailies, once a week updates, follow-up? Uh, Hi. So, uh, Rich, so far, most of that are included in the fee. Basically, it's included in the fee. Yeah, the coaching session actually doesn't have to be once a week. Actually, it's more of as you need it. But wag lang po every hour. But as long as you need your guidance, you can message me through Facebook. When it comes to the schedule activities, it's actually um, we can plan this together. Gabrielle, Joy, uh, we have uh, since we have a flexible program, we require parents to have a monthly project, and this can be sent quarterly or year end. These monthly projects are aligned with the subjects, and it is actually more of more of application. So we want our homeschoolers to really be active in experiencing the lessons. For example, uh, for the month of June, since our family is practicing yoga, or we are advocates of yoga, the month of June is for yoga practice. And uh, we encourage our students to practice a certain pose, or at least basic breathing exercises for the whole month of June. And if they are not into yoga, we respect that, so they can uh, do other sports. And then parents compile this, either like a scrapbook or a video or pictures, and that's what you submit. So it's like a portfolio also. By the way, 50% of the grade comes from the day-to-day lessons at home, and 50% is for the monthly projects. Um, Interest-led homeschooling. Yeah. Question: what is interest-led homeschooling? So basically, we have three kinds of interest-led learning approach. So one is child-led, one is environmental-led, and the other one is parent-led. So excuse me. So basically, when it's a child visual visual kinesthetic, if the child we provide more uh, experiences for the child that to enhance the activities through the visual. So it's more of, what age is your child reach? By the way, when it comes to the interest-led learning, we basically have a one-on-one program per child, because we design the program per child. No, for so many years we do not have the same lesson or the same curriculum uh, for everybody. It's basically a personalized curriculum. Also, yeah, so basically when they're young like that, so it's all mostly play activities and more on a hands-on approach. Just to elaborate, for example, with Dep Ed, the child at the end of the school year needs to learn the alphabet. So basically, the whole idea is to learn the alphabet. So if he or she is a visual kinesthetic, then we can either, let them draw, or let them experience it through crafting or arts or anything that they can use with the kind of learner they are. Actually, to be honest, it really depends on the parent. I don't recommend a certain curriculum. I only recommend international international curriculum when the family is going abroad. That's basically how I assess it. But if you're here in the Philippines, I believe there are so many learning materials that are available already. My daughters actually grew up using um, Adarna books for their reading. When it comes to depth ed and international curriculum, it basically just boils down to the subjects that you wish to add to your children to learn, because sometimes, um, especially with English, of course there are more materials from the international. But here we have been using Quipper, and it is based on Philippine setting. So, question: what can you say about co-ops? So far, we are trying to build communities wherever we have homeschool families. Uh, so far, here in Luzon, we have in La Union and La Union, Angeles, Bulacan, and when it comes to co-op, we are really trying to help families find the other family that will click with them. My idea of co-op is not really me implementing a certain family to a certain family. It's more of introducing other families to other families, and they whoever clicks with them, then those become their co-op. Sometimes the co-op is another sibling, then and that's okay because you are already a community. Like my family, we we grew up with a few co-op because it's not really popular here yet, or I don't know if uh, we didn't know about co-ops, and I only knew about co-ops in 2016. Just to give you a background, we've been homeschooling for almost more than 30 years, but we have been in our small circle homeschooling. And in 2016, when I was invited, or when we were invited to join Happy, that's the only time I found out that there is a bigger circle of homeschool communities. So when it comes to co-op, it's really a matter of family clicking with other families. So it's quite difficult to provide co-ops in a certain area when the families are not uh, clicking. When I say click, sometimes a family is with preschoolers and another family is with preschoolers, and they will click. But sometimes in a certain area, a family is with elementary and another family with preschool, so it doesn't click. So we try to find families who click. Dear So, can a homeschooler also take and have advanced exam? What grade is your child? Because it depends. With the K to 12, they are very strict with the grade and the age of the child. So basically, the advanced exams are given only for gifted children. But with the K to 12, everybody one level per year. Sorry, Rich. I wasn't able to. Co-ops near you but are from different. Yeah, here in Gopala, we actually offer the co-op to other families. We are open to all families even if they are not enrolled with Gopala. I really believe in a healthy homeschool community, and they don't have to come from one provider. because like I mentioned, our advocacy is the homeschooling. So whether you enroll with us or you enroll with other providers, that is okay with us. And if you are willing to join our programs, then you are most welcome. We exams are provided actually from the school. The exams are provided from the school. We have an assessment before the beginning of the school year, and also a year-end, somehow year-end evaluation. Sometimes it's an interview or paper and pen. It depends on the child. If you will have more questions and I cannot answer tonight, you can message me. Yeah, if you have any more questions, kindly message me through my Facebook page. I hope everything was clear, and I hope that was able to share with you what our homeschooling setup is. So whether you enroll with us or with the other providers, thank you very much for allowing me to share with you our advocacy for homeschooling. Thank you also. Our enrollment open anytime, yes po, but for proper documentation, we have sets we have set certain dates for enrollment. For the first batch, it will end on July, last week of July. Sorry, 31. July 31. Our last batch. First batch will be until July 31. Then the next batch will be September and then November. Basically, it's all open anytime. But as long as it is within the school year, and as long as the child is able to finish the 10 months program by March. Was that clear, Miss Santa Cruz? Mr. Santa Cruz, walang picture kaya hindi ko alam kung boy or girl. So, I think I will end. Okay. Yes, you can. Where are you from, Miss or Mr. Santa Cruz? Yes, we do accept through mail. Don't have to hand it personally. As long as it is complete. Sorry, nauubusan na ako ng mga words. Okay. Mail na. Miss. Oh, you're from Bacolod. We have a student there in Bacolod. Sorry, family there in Bacolod. Ayan. Yes, we have a family there in Bacolod, Miss Baish. Sorry. So, thank you very much again for tonight, for coming here. And I hope that you learned something from what I shared. So, thank you very much. Good night.